Welcome to Tales from the Jade Scroll.
What's that?
It's a collection of stories inspired by Chinese myths and legends.
So, we're talking dragons?
Sometimes.
Heroes?
Plenty.
Monsters?
A few.
Giant cosmic eggs?
Funny you should mention that.
I knew it!
Today we're exploring the creation of the universe.
The whole universe?
The whole universe.
That's a pretty big first story.
We figured we'd start small.
That's the opposite of small.
Fair point. Long ago, before there were stars, planets, mountains, rivers, dragons, or people, there was only darkness.
Just darkness?
Just darkness.
No sky?
No sky.
No earth?
No earth.
No moon?
No moon.
No snacks?
No snacks.
Now it's officially terrible.
It was quiet. Empty. Nothing moved. Nothing shined.
So where does the story begin?
Hidden inside the darkness was something very unusual.
Let me guess. A dragon?
Not this time.
A magic mountain?
Not yet.
Then what?
A giant cosmic egg.
There it is.
Inside that egg slept a giant named Pangu.
Was he comfortable?
Imagine sleeping inside an egg for thousands of years.
Actually, I'd rather not.
Pangu eventually felt the same way. One day, he opened his eyes.
Uh-oh.
The first thing he noticed was that he couldn't stretch.
I hate when that happens.
So did Pangu. The second thing he noticed was that the egg felt much smaller than it used to.
That's not a good sign.
No. And a moment later, Pangu decided he had had enough of living inside an egg.
What did he do?
He pushed. Pangu pushed? He pushed. And nothing happened.
Seriously?
At first.
That's disappointing.
Pangu thought so too. He pushed harder. The egg creaked.
That's usually not a good sound.
Not if you're an egg.
Fair.
Pangu planted his feet, took a deep breath, and shoved with all his strength.
Did it work this time?
Crack!
Finally!
A tiny crack appeared in the shell.
Tiny?
Very tiny.
That's still progress.
That's what Pangu thought. So he pushed again. The crack grew longer. Then another crack appeared. Then another.
The egg was in trouble.
The egg was having a very bad day.
I can tell.
Soon, cracks covered the entire shell. The giant egg began to shake.
I'd be worried at that point.
Pangu wasn't worried.
Why not?
He was too busy pushing.
That's one way to handle a problem.
Then came the biggest push of all. Pangu shouted. The egg trembled. The cracks flashed across the shell.
And then?
Boom!
The egg exploded?
The egg exploded.
Well, that's a much better ending for the egg than I expected.
Pieces of the shell flew everywhere. Some drifted upward. Others fell downward.
Upward where?
That's the strange part. There wasn't really an up yet.
Right. No sky, no earth, no universe?
Exactly. But that was about to change.
How?
Because the light pieces and the heavy pieces refused to stay together.
So the egg exploded. It did. And now the light pieces and heavy pieces are splitting apart.
Exactly.
That sounds like progress.
It was. The light and clear pieces floated upward, higher and higher. They spread across the darkness like a giant blanket.
The first sky?
The very first sky.
Nice.
The heavy pieces moved the other way. They sank downward. They gathered together, slowly forming the first Earth.
So the universe was finally coming together.
For a moment, it looked that way.
Uh-oh.
You notice that?
Every time you say for a moment, something bad happens.
That's a fair observation. Pangu watched the sky drift upward. He watched the earth settle below. Everything seemed perfect. Never trust seemed perfect. Wise words. Thank you. Then the sky stopped rising. That's not good. The earth stopped sinking too. Also not good. Slowly, almost too slowly to notice, they began moving back toward each other.
Wait, they're coming back together?
They were.
After all that work?
After all that work, I'd be upset. Pangu was more than upset. He had just spent thousands of years inside an egg. Then he spent all that effort breaking out.
And now the universe wants to become an egg again?
That's one way to describe it.
Not a very helpful universe.
Pangu knew he had to do something.
What?
He looked up at the sky. He looked down at the earth. Then he took a very deep breath.
I have a feeling this is going to be important.
It was the most important breath he would ever take.
It was the most important breath he would ever take?
The most important.
That's a lot of pressure for one breath.
Pangu had a lot of pressure. Literally. Good point. The giant looked up at the sky, then down at the earth. They were still drifting toward each other.
The universe was trying to become an egg again.
Exactly.
I still think that's rude.
Pangu probably agreed. He stretched his arms as high as he could. Then he planted his feet firmly on the ground. I've seen this stance before. It's called the I need to save the universe stance. Very technical name. Years of research. Impressive. Pangu pushed upward with all his strength. The sky moved higher. Nice. Then he pushed downward with his feet. The earth sank lower. Double nice. For the first time, the sky and earth stopped moving toward each other. Finally. But there was a problem. Of course there was. Pangu couldn't stop. What do you mean? The second he relaxed even a little, the sky started falling again. You're kidding. I wish. So he had to stand there forever? Not forever. That's good. Just for a very, very long time. That's less good. Day after day, Pangu held the sky above his head. Day after day, he held the earth below his feet. That sounds exhausting. It was. But something amazing began to happen. What? The space between heaven and earth started getting bigger. Bigger how? Big enough for the first winds to race across the universe.
The first winds?
The very first.
Were they like the wind we have today?
Not even close. These winds were wild. They raced through the growing universe. They twisted and spun through the empty space.
So basically, giant cosmic windstorms? That's a pretty good description.
Thank you.
The winds rushed past Pangu. They swirled around the sky. They swept across the earth.
Did they build anything?
In a way. The winds gathered tiny pieces of the old eggshell.
The egg is still causing trouble!
The egg was surprisingly involved in the creation of the universe. It really wanted to be part of the story. The tiny pieces drifted through the sky. Some became bright. Others became brighter. Then brighter still.
Wait, are these stars?
Not yet.
You're doing that thing again.
What thing?
The not yet thing?
It's a useful storytelling tool.
It's very suspicious.
The glowing pieces continued to shine. Soon the growing universe sparkled with thousands of tiny lights.
That sounds amazing.
Pangu thought so too. For the first time, the darkness wasn't completely dark.
The universe finally had some decoration.
Exactly. But while Pangu was admiring the lights, he noticed something strange.
Something stranger than a universe made from an egg?
Somehow, yes. One light was growing much faster than all the others.
How much faster?
Big enough that Pangu could see it from anywhere in the universe.
That's a big light.
It kept growing. Brighter. Hotter. Larger. That can't be good.
Pangu wasn't sure whether it would save the universe or destroy it. We'll find out after a short break.
We're back! And there's a giant glowing light that might save the universe or destroy it.
That's a good summary.
I try.
Pangu watched the growing light carefully. Every day it became brighter. Every day it became hotter.
Was it still one of the little lights from before?
It started that way, but now it was much larger than all the others.
So what was it?
Pangu wasn't sure.
That's becoming a theme.
The universe was still new. Nobody had an instruction manual.
That seems like an important thing to include.
You'd think so.
The giant light continued to grow. Soon, it was lighting huge parts of the sky.
That sounds useful.
It was. Before the light appeared, the universe was dim and shadowy. Now, everything was easier to see.
So maybe it wasn't dangerous after all.
That's what Pangu hoped. Then the light suddenly grew even brighter.
Uh-oh.
The clouds glowed. The winds shimmered. Even pieces of the earth sparkled.
Okay, that's definitely a lot of glowing.
Pangu shielded his eyes. For a moment, he thought the light might burst apart. Did it? No. Instead, it settled into the sky.
Just settled?
Just settled. That's surprisingly polite. It found its place high above the earth. And from that day on, it shined across the universe. Wait, was this the sun? The very first sun. Nice. But while everyone was admiring the sun, by everyone, you mean Pangu? Mostly Pangu. Another mystery was beginning on the other side of the sky.
So now we have a sun. We do.
That's a pretty important step. The universe was looking much better than it did a few parts ago. Back when it was just an egg. Back when it was just an egg. Simpler times. For the egg, maybe. Fair. The first sun shined across the sky. The clouds glowed gold. The winds sparkled as they raced through the heavens. Sounds beautiful. It was. But while Pangu admired the sun, something else caught his attention. The mystery on the other side of the sky? Exactly. Far away, hidden among the clouds, a small silver light had appeared. Another sun? That's what Pangu thought at first. Two suns sounds dangerous. Very dangerous. Imagine summer. I'd rather not. Good point. Pangu watched the silver light carefully. Unlike the sun, it wasn't hot. It didn't grow brighter during the day. In fact, it seemed happiest when the sky grew dark. That's suspicious. A little. Curious, Pangu traveled across the sky to investigate. How far was it? Very far. Giant steps? Giant steps. Nice. When Pangu finally reached the silver light, he discovered it wasn't a second sun at all. Then what was it? A great silver lantern hanging in the heavens. A lantern? That's what it looked like. Who hung it there? That was the mystery. No ropes, no chains, no sign that anyone had placed it there. That's a little creepy. Pangu thought so too. Then the silver lantern slowly began to glow. Brighter than before? Much brighter. Soft, gentle, calm. Not like the sun. Not like the sun at all. And as the silver light spread across the sky, Pangu realized he was looking at the very first moon.
The first moon? The very first moon.
So now the universe had a sun and a moon.
It did.
Things are really coming together.
Slowly but surely.
That's usually how building projects work.
Even universe-sized ones.
Especially universe-sized ones.
The moon drifted across the heavens. Its silver light spread over the earth below. Everywhere the moonlight touched, the world seemed calmer. Calmer than what? Than the daytime. The sun was bright. The sun was energetic. The moon was quiet.
So they were opposites.
In many ways.
I think I'd like the moon.
A lot of people do. Pangu watched the sun and moon travel across the sky. One brought warmth, one brought peace.
That's a pretty good team.
It was. But after a while, Pangu noticed another problem.
There's always another problem.
The universe was still mostly empty.
Oh, right. We have a sky, an earth, a sun, and a moon. But not much else. Exactly. The heavens felt vast. The earth felt lonely. That's kind of sad. Pangu thought so too. He looked at the thousands of tiny lights scattered across the sky. The ones the winds made? The very same. Most were small. Most barely glowed. But not all of them? Not all of them. Pangu gathered the brightest lights he could find. How many? Hundreds. That's a lot of gathering. Giant hands help. Fair. One by one, Pangu placed them across the heavens, high above the earth, far beyond the moon. Wait, are these finally the stars? At last, they were. Nice. The universe was beginning to sparkle. But far below, something on the earth was starting to move. Something is moving on the earth?
That's what caught Pangu's attention.
Let me guess. Another giant glowing thing?
Not this time.
A dragon?
Not yet.
You're really making me wait for the dragons.
Patience. Pangu looked down from the heavens. At first, he couldn't see anything. The earth was still young. It was mostly rock and soil.
So what was moving?
Tiny green shoots.
Plants?
The very first plants.
That's less dramatic than dragons.
Give them some credit. They were the first living things the world had ever seen.
That's actually pretty important.
The little shoots pushed through the soil. They stretched toward the sunlight. They drank water from the earth.
Sounds like they knew exactly what they were doing.
Better than most people, honestly.
Fair.
Pangu watched as more plants appeared. A few became patches of grass. Others became bushes. Some grew taller and taller.
The first trees?
The first trees.
Nice.
Before long, parts of the earth were covered in green.
That must have looked very different.
It did. The world suddenly felt alive.
So was Pangu finished?
Not even close.
Really?
The plants were growing. The stars were shining. The sun and moon crossed the sky. But the earth was still missing something.
What?
Sound.
Oh, it was still quiet.
Very quiet. No birds, no animals, no buzzing insects, no voices.
That does sound lonely.
Pangu thought so too.
Then one morning,
He heard something.
what was it?
The very first cry of a living creature.
The very first cry of a living creature?
The very first.
What made the sound?
Pangu searched across the earth. He crossed hills. He followed rivers. He walked through the young forests.
Did he find it?
He did. Sitting on a branch was a tiny bird.
The first bird?
The first bird.
I was hoping for a dragon.
The dragons will have their turn.
Good.
The bird chirped again. Then it spread its wings. Then it flew.
The first flight!
The first flight. Soon, other creatures began to appear.
More birds?
Some were birds. Some swam in the rivers. Some ran across the fields.
So life was finally spreading.
Everywhere. The forests became lively. The rivers became busy. The world was no longer lonely.
That's nice.
Pangu looked across the universe. The stars shined overhead. The moon crossed the night sky. The sun warmed the day. Plants covered the earth. Animals filled the land.
Sounds like he finally finished.
He was getting close. But one final chapter of Pangu's story was still waiting to be told.
Uh-oh. That sounds important.
Very important. And we'll discover it in the final part of this myth.
One final chapter? One final chapter. The universe is finished. The sun is shining. The moon is glowing. The stars are sparkling. Plants are growing. Animals are running around. What could still be left?
Pangu.
Oh, right. For longer than anyone could imagine, Pangu had held the sky above the earth.
That's a lot of work.
The biggest job in the universe. Literally. Literally. But now, the sky stood on its own. The earth stood on its own. The universe no longer needed Pangu to hold everything together. So, he could finally rest. He could. Pangu looked across the world one last time. He saw rivers winding through the land, forests stretching across the earth, birds flying through the sky, stars shining overhead. I'd be pretty proud of that. Pangu was too. He smiled. Then he lay down beneath the sky he had protected for so long and went to sleep. According to the old stories, yes. But the story doesn't end there. It never does. His final breath became the wind. So every breeze reminds us of Pangu? That's what the storyteller said. His voice became the thunder. That explains why thunder is so loud. He was a giant after all. Fair point. His strength became the mountains, and his spirit became part of the universe itself. So a piece of him stayed everywhere? Everywhere. I like that ending. Me too. And that's the lesson of the story. What's the lesson? Big things often start small. Great things take time. And the work we do today can help others tomorrow. That's a pretty good lesson. I think so too. Thanks for listening to Tales from the Jade Scroll. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep wondering and keep learning.